Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Tuesday, the 9th of June 2020. So yesterday we've seen a bit of a quake in the quants and momentum melts down as stocks and bonds rally. And as it says here, I feel like I'm talking crazy pills. I think we could all do with some crazy pills, to be honest with you. Because it never seems to stop. And as yesterday, we've got global stocks rise, S&P above 3,200 as melt-up continues. And this is interesting. It says we're beginning to see evidence of economic data improving gradually. I'm trying to do this with a straight face. And thankfully, no major secondary spikes in infections. Well, that's a positive. We expect that to encourage investors to come back to the market. You'd have to have half a brain cell to be buying the Dow and the S&P at these levels without a major correction at this time. And then, of course, we can contrast this with, this is just the start. US bankruptcies saw 48% in May, the most since the financial crisis, 2008. And then, again, we get a bit of a reality check here. I think we're going to see an extraordinary number of large corporate bankruptcies, not just in the US, but across the globe. I mean, you're not kidding. But there you go. So there's your contrast for this morning. The euphoria remains in the stock market, but the reality is something else. So let's have a look at the markets for yesterday. Let's start off with the Dow. You can see that we continued through the 78% retracement heading towards the 89. Bit of a quieter day, but nonetheless still 481 point move yesterday. In the cash market, moving prices up to the upside once more, and it just continues. So a bit of a narrower range bar. We could do with a bit of a pullback. It's been straight up for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So the market in need of a bit of a pullback there. But in the main market yesterday for the Dow. Let's just get this right. We're looking for the afternoon session here. So that's what we're after. This is the main part of the move yesterday. You can see as soon as the cash market opened, prices were pummeled to the downside, but then managed to move back to the upside there. Massive swing, 150 points. All of these red bars inside of the green there indicating that there's some selling, even though the market looks like it's positive, there is selling inside of it, and eventually it has to give way until prices double bottom and then start to move to the upside. And you'll see there throughout the remainder of the session into the close, once again prices rallying, in particular just as we get towards the close. So the plunge protection team doing their best before the close, and then overnight prices are still trading in quite a significant range. Just after midnight, prices selling off 100 points, bouncing back 62% there, but now stuck in a sideways range as the European markets wait to open. The German Dax, similar picture as well. A bit of red there yesterday in the German Dax. As prices show a bit of weakness, and Lagarde was out yesterday. Couldn't find anything on what she'd actually said. Pretty irrelevant, really, because whatever they say is generally interpreted to be positive for the markets, and they move the markets up. But a bit of weakness around in the daily chart there. You've got a bit of red inside of the green up move that we've had for a while there. So some potential weakness in prices. But again, still above the 78 and 89. Same picture as the Dow. On a smaller scale, inside of the 2-minute chart yesterday, kicking off at 7 a.m, prices saw some selling in the futures, supported by a bit of buying there and a bit more that you can see here. These are green sort of potential strength bars inside of the red, but then the selling giving way. And then we open at 8 a.m, which is the important time. It's always interesting to see what they're doing in the first hour before the open. We then see the selling coming in, but there you see them buying back in at the DP level. And something that I've noticed in this is that you can preempt the sort of the signals in the software by observation of the last few weeks, which is something I'm working on at the moment to fine tune this, is that these green bars then show the pros coming in and buying and then moving the market up, and eventually we start to move green, and then prices on about 80-point move from this low then start to pull back, and we see prices trading sideways. And again, this is something else that I've noticed now. After the first move, you get a bit of a lull in the Dax before we then see prices move once more. So again, something that I'm trying to interpret and put into the software. But yesterday you can see prices here moving to the upside. And a key thing here is that to hold a trade is if prices drive through the sort of the scalp area, the first 10 points, then you can generally hold it for a bit longer. And we can see there's resistance at the close. That's where this is, and you've got the 200 MA. So at this point, you've got to make a decision. You've got resistance to the left as well. You are in a 2-minute time frame. Do I take the money, or do I wait for prices to come back to the scalp or to the below the 5-bar moving average, which is the purple line there as well? And the choice is down to the individual, because everybody is so different. You can give rules to traders, but they will interpret based upon their own psychological awareness to risk, and also the psychology of fear as well, where it's, some will say, well, I'll just take the money as I get to the resistance levels. Myself, I like to see if I can hang on for as long as possible, which means that you have to sacrifice some part of the trade as well in order to do this. But then later on in the morning, we had a similar thing here where the market gave a signal. Prices drove higher. They drove back up to the close there, and then they managed to get through the 200 and move higher as well. And you see prices once again driving through the scalp level there, and then continuing on up until we got close to the BRN. There was nothing else in the way there that I can see, where prices stopped, and then they came back and double topped before moving lower. But again, a nice move to the upside there as prices started to trade sideways. And also notice that they come back. I'll just draw this in for you, to the close below the 5-bar moving average, because as the market moves there, the momentum from the 5-bar moving average is closing above, and there you'll see 51 points on this as well. And then in the afternoon, we see prices in the mid-morning again continuing to move higher, ready for the Dow, and then the Dow opens, and then we see prices moving lower. We've got a bit of a tip off here with the red inside of the green, then got the signal, and prices again moving lower. Get the right tool there. So we can see that prices now gather here, but they stay below the BRN. You can see that is a resistance, and the price is remaining below the 5-bar moving average, and this is the first point where they start to close. But also notice how the market finds support at the 200-bar moving average, and you've seen this an awful lot in the market alert over the years. Again, if this breaks, prices will move lower, but there's nothing wrong in taking the profits off the table when the market moves to closing back above the 5-bar moving average or at the 200 MA. That again is decision. It will be down to the individual trader. At the close above the 5-bar moving average there, you will see there's 21 points, and at the 200 MA there are 33. So again, it's a matter of choice and whether you can hold the trade or not. And then just before the end of the session on the Dax, you can see the market struggling at the scalp level, and you can see the two red bars there, and that's an indication that you're likely to get some sort of a pullback. So again, it's either you're going to get the stop to break even, or you're going to take the money. We got through the BRN, but as prices come back below, we're looking around a break-even trade there as prices start to come back, and you get the tip off there with the potential weakness in the red bars there. But the market finds support down here at the 20 bar moving average, then closes back above the 5 bar moving averages, which gives you the opportunity to re-enter as well, because prices remain on the buy side. So there are ways to actually re-enter as well. The bars remain green as prices move back to the upside there. But we have got a situation here that you've got to keep in mind with spread betting companies, that they tend to widen the spreads after 4:30 when the DAX closes. So news today, what have we got? Nothing today. No, nothing to report at all, just medium impact news. That's not going to affect the market. German Dax overnight. Let's have a look at it in a bigger time frame. 5 minute there. Prices sideways, the same as the Dow. Sitting on the 200 bar moving average, where you can see all of these green bars coming in back at this level, and the market being held, which is no surprise there. So a 50-point range for most of the night, just a bit higher when it kicked off, and then moved lower with the Dow. Also on a bigger time frame, it's always good to have a look and see where we are trading as well, just to get that perspective of where there is support in the bigger picture as well, and where there is also resistance. And I'll be adding more of this into the market alert as well. I'm just going to go back to the 2 minute and just give you a couple of other pointers that I've thought about as yesterday morning, just to show you with the fibs as well. So from this low to this high, you'll see prices, let me just delete those and do that again, stop them extending. From this low to this high, you'll see the market retracing. This is 50%. I prefer to keep the 62, 78 and 89, but this is a 50% retracement. You've got support here as well with the big round number as well. And then as prices move higher, again, you can see from this low to this high, you'll see the market come back to 78 at this level, and also to the high here as well. You'll see the market coming back to 62% as well. So again, in combination with everything else, you'll start to see the areas where support is likely to come into the market. Even though this is after the market, 10 o'clock in the morning, again, you'll see prices coming back to these crucial areas. And then also within these areas as well, from I'm going to have to draw this off just the one bar, click twice, and you'll see the market coming back to 62%. So the reason for this is there's no other high to the right, so it's just a matter of drawing twice on there. And again, you'll see the market sitting at this support, and as it moves higher from this high to this low, just do that again, from this high to this low, you will see prices trading up to 78% there. So again, you can just keep using these as the market moves to the upside, as it finds support on the downside. So great areas to buy back into, and you'll see this all the way through. And then on the downside, again, you'll see small retracements, not a lot, because the market's not closing. This is the downside. You'll get more momentum, as I always say, staircase up and elevator down, and you can see their prices selling off a bit more sharpish there, but eventually finding support, but not the sort of pullbacks that we saw in the morning session. But again, something else to use in combination. You can actually see it within these smaller parts here, but as I'm already over time, I will leave it there. Okay, that will do it for this one. If there is anything else to report today, I'll let you know, but otherwise, as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.